What's going on? So, I'm Corey.
I'm Kelly.
What's up? And,
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're unleashed. It's, I am so grateful to have, so today we had some talks about free agency at church, and I am so grateful to have my agency. As a recovering addict, it's something that I lived without for a long time. That I had no power. I had no ability. I mean, I was powerless. I was powerless over a chemical that had taken complete control over my life, and I was hopeless. And it really is a miracle that a person can be free of that bind of addiction. No matter what it is that we struggle with, whatever a person is addicted to, it is, anytime somebody overcomes an addiction, it's a miracle. One of the people that talked at church today struggled with alcoholism and has been freed from that today. Today she is free of it. It's a daily reprieve that we all have. But the ability to choose and to actually have the power to make a choice in my day of whether I'm going to go and use or not, that's just wonderful. To have control, to not want control, to have the ability to live my life in a way that I don't need that control over anybody. I don't need it, but I have the free agency and the ability to let God guide my life, where before it was just an obsession, something that was complete control over my life. So I'm just so grateful that I don't have that on me today. I don't have that bind where I've felt completely hopeless and just, I mean, it's just. And as I was listening to this lady talk about her struggle with alcoholism, I thought, man, she's such a good person. And we, as addicts, just feel like we're so bad. And it's so funny. Like, some of the best people I know are recovering addicts, recovering alcoholics, recovering whatever. Because they're working so hard on just being better people. And they're such an inspiration to me. We are so hard on ourselves because it's like we want to beat this one thing, but it's just wonderful to see somebody else that is the same way. You know, I could just see how much she felt like she was such a bad person, and it's like, you're such a good person. You just have a problem with alcohol. Don't do it anymore. And you'll be free. You'll have the agency to choose. Anyway, I love free agency.
Man, just sitting here listening to you talk, it's come to my awareness how I too, like, I love agency, and I recognize that over the past week or so, I feel like I've given my agency over to my thinking. Like, I think with addiction and stuff, we associate it so much with chemicals or with things that we're doing, things we're taking into our body and that kind of stuff, but I just recognized how it's so much in our minds. Like, our minds get pulled into like this certain way of thinking, and mine has been really off in some challenging places, And I just sitting here right now, I can recognize how I really have lost a lot of agency. Like, my thinking has just pulled me so much. It's so interesting to be aware of that. And it does, like, it'll take you places where it's like, oh, I'm so bad. I'm so just get down so down on ourselves, and it's hard to like see all the good, because I mean we all everybody just has so much good. And I love that whenever I meet people, I see people, like I really see good in people. And I tend to really I can be very dismissive of a lot of bad, and which is a good quality, but it can also be a negative thing to be so dismissive. But at the same time, it's like I see so much good in people, yet I have the hardest time seeing that same thing within myself. Yeah. And it is part of recovery. It is part of this process, learning how to see myself in God's eyes, like how he sees me. And our thinking has just been really off lately.
It's all the thinking. The two are not separate. So often it was so easy for me to be an addict. I mean, it's whatever. But mental illness? No, that's not me. I'm not mentally ill. No, I've got some serious problems with my thinking. Mm-hmm. It is a mental illness, and it is a thinking disorder, and an addict's worst place to be is in their head. That's why there's meetings, and that's why there's sponsors, and that's why there's just always a way to get out of your head. Because staying in my head too long, I can create some stuff that is just so crazy. Like, all this stuff that I've messed up in my life, all the things I've done. What have I done wrong? What have I really messed up? I mean, yeah, some things are off kilter in my life, but I mean, in all reality, I'm really not struggling with things that more than half of the population has gone through. I mean, I just want to be so unique. I want to be so different. Like, oh, woe is me. My situation is so much harder. No, I'm just a recovering addict. I'm just a typical run-of-the-mill person that struggles with addiction. And I've struggled for a very long time. But that doesn't make my struggle any worse or any easier than anybody. But it does come back to putting it down and stopping and having my agency is a wonderful thing. I absolutely love the fact that I have free agency, but I still have to watch my thoughts because I do have a problem with my mind. And if I do not take care of myself mentally and I don't put the proper nourishment into my body that I need spiritually, my mind is gonna just keep me miserable.
And two, agency goes so much with like laws and commandments and all these different things, like we talked about in our last video about the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, and like we can get so wrapped up in laws and stuff, but they're so important. Like they free us. Like they truly, whenever we have commandments that are given to us to do these certain things, they're not restrictions. It's like I think so many times they're taught that way and we learn them that way, so it feels like we have to, like, we don't like it. We don't like to be restricted, so we want to break it. Yeah, don't tell me what to do because I don't want to be told what to do. I'm going to do the exact opposite, which is, breaking commandments. And those commandments, they're there to free us. I mean, they really are. It's like don't know what I'm thinking. I mean, as we break them, as we break commandments, like our soul knows right and wrong. Our soul knows what is a positive, good feeling and what is a negative, heavy feeling. And that is what those commandments, they're just guidance. They're guides for us to have further light, to be given further light, to be given further knowledge. And as we make those choices and we live those commandments, it opens us up. It just frees us. And as we choose not to, that's when we get chained. That's when we fall into the addictions. That's when our minds begin to really create so much stuff. We start beating ourselves up, and then judgment, and just so much goes with it.
Yeah. I love the example that was given of if we break a law and we get caught doing it, we are going to go to jail. If we break a law, if it's something that is against the law, if I go out and rob a store, most likely I'm going to be brought to jail, and I'm going to get put in a cell, and I'm going to be restricted. My life is going to become very restricted. I'm not going to have access to the freedoms that we all get to enjoy on a daily basis in life. So if I break a law that is a spiritual law, I am going to put myself in a box, and I'm going to be restricted. No different than the physical, literal jail cell that I can put myself in through breaking a law of the land. If I break a spiritual law, I am restricting myself, and I'm just putting myself in a box. I'm limiting my ability to grow and to be free of so many burdens and so many pains. I mean, I'm not going to be free of trials and experiences and the pain that goes with life. I mean, life is life, but I will have the comfort and the peace and the Spirit with me so that I can get through it just so much easier. I don't have to go through it alone, and it's when you're living right, not only am I connecting spiritually to a higher power, but when I'm living right, people come into my life. Mm-hmm. Physical people that, I mean, my circle of influence just gets greater and greater, and not the people I can influence, but the people that are influencing me, in a positive manner. Just that circle. People come into my life, and my life just becomes better. So, I mean, it's a simple choice. Am I going to choose to put myself in a box by doing things that restrict me in my life, or am I going to break free of those things and allow myself the freedom to breathe?
Mm-hmm. And the thing about this life is that every single one of us, at one point or another, we put ourselves in these boxes. We just all do. We are all in a box, and we're in that box until we ask for help. We ask something higher than ourselves to open up that box, to free us from it. And that is where Jesus Christ comes into my life, is where, he has opened up that box and laid it flat open. And he, for the past few years, I feel like he has just been scrubbing that box out. I mean, he's just helping me so much to cleanse it, to get rid of just all the things and like you said, as we're learning and we're choosing differently and we're following the commandments and we're bringing more light into our lives, it's like more light and more knowledge comes in. And sometimes it can be in the most amazing ways and through people that you would never expect. And it's I feel like I've just been learning so much you know, we grew up in the tradition of, you know, of our church, and learning about God in that way, and as I open myself to learn more and to expand and to receive more, and as my discernment grows, and I'm seeking, like I'm searching, God is showing me, and he's teaching me so much, and he's bringing knowledge from all of these different traditions and philosophies and just different things, that they have truths, and he's opening my eyes to them in ways that's like helping me to understand him, and helping me to gain an even deeper understanding of Jesus Christ and who Jesus Christ is in my life, and how I can become more like Christ and just reach that state that I just have that same love and that same peace and that same joy that Christ had, and that he was trying to teach all of us, you know.
We're not waiting to go to heaven.
No, we can have it here.
Yeah, go ahead and get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you listened to it too, but Aaron Abke, when he said, when he had his spiritual experiences, when he was able to marry Eastern and Western philosophy together, the feminine and the masculine, the mercy and the law, you know, there's just so much truth that comes from the Hindu, Tibetan, the Muslim, or Islamic, you know, the whole, just all those beliefs. There's so much good in that. And then you come to the Christianity, and there's just so much, it's beautiful how you can. Jesus Christ, I mean, he took truth in all areas. He found truth in areas that the Sadducees and Pharisees would never even go. I mean, that's why nothing good comes from Nazareth. Lived in a region where it was just a whole different world. They were a whole different type of people. He was basically, he grew up in an area that pushed him to marry that Eastern and Western philosophy. I know is Jesus Christ, which he is the philosophy, the truth.
Right.
But he had that other truth amongst him. I mean, that's what he grew up in Nazareth. And he was a Nazarene. He grew up amongst the mystics, the people that were very spiritual. I mean, that's where he came from. That's the region. The Syrian.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If you really can learn the history of it, it's absolutely beautiful. There is so much truth in all of that. And it's just so wonderful to know that learning that stuff doesn't restrict me. It just gives me a greater knowledge of this higher power, this God. I mean, science doesn't convince me otherwise. Science just convinces me more that that's what it is. It's so freeing. It's not restricting to have commandments, because not only do I need to obey commandments, God needs to follow law. Because without law, God would be a God of chaos. Everything would be chaotic, which might not be a good example because things are pretty chaotic in the world. But there is law in the universe. The planets revolve around a sun. I mean, there is order in it all. And for the small amount of things that I have to follow and obey, if I can just do these things and get the freedom that I'm experiencing in my life, I mean, there's no telling where I can receive more, and more freedom and more knowledge.
And he wants us to. Like, he wants us to seek and to search and to knock and to ask. And he wants us to ask questions. Like, that is how we learn. And I mean, there is just so much that we do not know. We just do not know. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at trees, and I'm just like, these trees, I mean, the way that they grow, the way that they create new trees, the way that the leaves, the branches, there's just so much. Just about one tree, there is like so much knowledge and so much wisdom and just so much to learn from a tree. One thing in this world, and I mean, we can look at the grass and seeds. I mean, just all of it is just so incredible. And I love that God has given us these minds, that's given us this desire within us to know more, to learn more, to just like want to grow closer to him, to truth, to knowledge. Just it's like he just wants us to expand, and as we do, he just fills us with more. And that is the freedom. That is the freedom that comes whenever you are able to get out of that box of just restriction that we put upon ourselves by our own choices and by our limiting minds, by the way that we think that we have enough knowledge, we know enough, I don't need to know anymore. It keeps us from expanding. It keeps us from truly deepening what we know. I love it. I love learning.
There's just so many. I don't get that feeling. Well, actually, sometimes I'll start seeing something and it's like, that's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, right.
It's just
it's
not.
It's discernment.
Yes. Discernment. Which, thank goodness we have discernment with free agency, because if we didn't, that'd really be a predicament that God put us in.
Yeah.
But there's just, while you were talking about the trees, just a funny thought that I had when you were talking about them is, can you imagine a tree waking up one morning and saying, today I'm not going to grow? I'm just not going to do it, God. Today I'm going to sit here and not grow. Every day a tree wakes up and grows and reproduces and does what it's supposed to do. Same with animals, same with everything. Yet here I am wanting to kick against it, Well, no, I'm going to find happiness down another route. But I see so many people that are happy, that are living a just happy life, and who am I to say, well, it's just so funny that anybody could say that living a righteous life and doing certain things that you just feel in your heart are just righteous, that there's something wrong with that. Why would somebody want to convince me that the way that I'm being taught is wrong if it's bringing me so much joy and happiness? If it's bringing me peace and happiness, why would you want to try and convince me that it's wrong? It just doesn't make sense. And it goes for anybody. I love these mystical people, these people that have taught me so much about energy and the way that we vibrate and the way that our bodies vibrate. And there's just so much truth. There's so much truth about energy, and it's fact. It's just truth. It's fact.
It's science. Science has proved it.
It's science. It's just the order of law. But it doesn't take away from Jesus Christ. It just adds to everything he did. When he took the water and turned it into wine, he didn't just take water and turn it into wine. He obeyed laws and was able to command elements to come together in a certain cistern or whatever it's called, that vessel that the water was in, and everything was set up perfectly. He had everything he needed to create wine, and I mean, it was all by law. It's called a miracle. I'm not going to say it's not a miracle, but it's law. I mean, if you really want to study it and see what happened, and you believe that there is a God that obeys laws, well, then you can see how water could be turned to wine in the correct vessel in a shorter period of time if you have all the proper elements to put in the vessel that is properly attaining the water. It can just happen. I don't have to wait 6 months or a year for the water to turn to wine, because I have concentrated everything into this specific situation. It's just beautiful to me. Law is law. Jesus Christ did not break any laws whenever he created miracles. He took the dirt out of the ground and put it on the guy's eyes and said, wash the dirt off, and the guy was born blind. So he obviously did not have certain stuff in his body that causes vision. There were certain rods or whatever going on inside the eyeball, and Jesus Christ had it in the dirt, and he put it on his eyes, and the guy washed it off, and it was in his eyes now. He had the necessary elements in his body to see. It was a miracle. Yes, it was a miracle, but it was followed by law. I love free agency. The fact that I can think, the fact that my mind is free and
to learn.
Yeah, and learn. I mean, it's just, I love it.
And there's so much out there. I mean, there's just millions and millions. I mean, I am amazed at how much free knowledge there is out there. I mean, there's so many people who just have so much wisdom from their personal experiences and so much education from just years and years of learning and studying, and
completely opposite from where we go to church.
Yeah, totally different from what we have learned.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's truth.
And I love it. I love learning about it because it's helping me personally to understand healing differently. Understand how my body has held on to so much stuff in my cells, in my DNA, just in me. It's helping me to understand how to get rid of it. And, I just love it.
Yeah.
I really do.
And it makes me think so much about the ego.
Oh, yeah.
The ego wants me to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so funny. I mean, drop all that nonsense. Mm-hmm. Just let that go. And the knowledge that we can attain when we get rid of our ego is just amazing. The roads that we can follow and the people's experiences, like you're saying. I mean, people down roads that I've never even imagined traveling, they have so much wisdom and knowledge about healing, and I mean, things that I always thought in the past, like, well, you got to have a certain calling, or you got to have a certain whatever to be able to heal, but I don't believe that anymore. Now, I do understand that there are certain things that have to be present for things to happen, but there's so many people in the world that have access to that specific, to be living that specific way, and it allows, it allows that power to come up just naturally, organically, where I don't have to have it laid upon my head.
Right.
It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And for anybody to think that they have, that's just so egotistical. You're going to come save me from my love of Jesus Christ and from me submitting my life to my Savior, and you're going to come save me from learning from these knowledgeable, mystical people that have so much wisdom from spiritual law and have absolutely no clue about what I go and learn, but they have so much knowledge. You're going to come save me from them? Don't go down that path? I mean, no. I know that Jesus Christ is my Savior. So you have some different beliefs about Jesus Christ and the afterlife or this or that. I don't know. I love that I don't have to be right. But I'm so glad that I'm at peace with the right that I've got.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, something that I've recognized with myself recently is that, like, with doing this, with being so open with where we are in our lives and what we are learning, I've recognized that I, over the past month or so, have been having a lot of fear within me and doubt within me because I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. Like, I don't want to ever say something that is going to steer someone away from Jesus Christ or from God, or lead someone down a path that is not correct. And so I've been feeling like that fear, and it has kept me from actually recording a lot of my own personal videos and from like really going into my own YouTube channel, because I'm like, I have so much fear of judgment of people within church, like, because we have been raised a certain way, we have been taught certain things in our lives, and Jesus Christ is the way, he is the truth, he is the life, he is everything, and he is everything to me. And it's like he is just expanding me so much and helping me to learn so much. And I sometimes feel like if I start to share these things, and people are going to think, oh, well, she has gone off, like off in some crazy stuff. But I'm just like, but it's not. It's so true. Like, there's just so much truth. And I know that God is wanting us, with the knowledge that we have, with the understanding that we've been given, with the experiences that we've had throughout our life, that we have a firm foundation upon Jesus Christ and upon his gospel. And because of that, we can see things in a different way than a lot of people do. And so all of these things that I am learning and bringing into myself, it's not diminishing anything. It is expanding me and helping me to grow and helping me to understand God in such a different way, and my relationship with him. And it's like I'm learning so much more about Jesus Christ that, like, I can look at my past self from years past, and I'm like, I just was missing the mark so much. Like, I'm so proud of who what I accomplished in my life, and like I did the best that I knew to do, and I, with all of it, and I have been a good person, throughout my life as best as I could be, with all of my traumas, with all of my everything. But it's like coming to truly know Jesus Christ in a different way today. Like, I realize that I have never truly felt him in my heart like I do today. Like, I have not had a relationship with him like I do today. And I feel like I have had a relationship with him in my life. I feel like I have had faith in him my whole life. But coming to truly know him and feel him and experience him in my life, and just the way that, like, I see God everywhere. Like, I look at you and I'm like, I see God, you know? I see God in the trees. Like, no one could ever convince me that there is not a God, because, I mean, I look at a newborn child and I see God. Like, I see God everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just love it. And he's making himself known to me more and more and more.
Yeah, I always thought I had this understanding of Jesus Christ. When I was 23 years old, I thought that I really had a relationship with my Savior. But my understanding of so many different, paths has just opened my eyes up to exactly what Jesus Christ was trying to get across and why they killed him. I mean, why the Jews killed him. Because he was such a weird, mystical, strange being. I mean, he was coming around saying, I am God. And God is, people just couldn't fathom the fact that a man could walk in front of them and say that. And it's, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, me too.
You know? I mean, as he was a mortal, perfect man, only perfect man to ever walk amongst us, but he still had a body that could bruise, that could sweat, that could, he had a body that was growing older, He knew how to fast. He knew how to do the things to keep himself young, to keep his body working right. He knew the way to live. And as I learn more about Jesus Christ and basically the 18 years that don't exist in the Bible and in the scriptures, he was living there. He was living amongst those people that we all want to think are weird. That's where he was.
I want to be weird.
Yeah, for sure. And it might get you
be
killed.
Weird like him.
Yeah, and you hold to it, and they literally took Barabbas and said, "Free the murderer. We want to kill the weirdo that's going around saying he is God." God is within all of us. Jesus Christ is our Savior. But I do see God in everything too. And it's for so many people to say, oh, the Mormons think they're going to go become God. Wait. Almost the whole world's teaching that. That we can be one with God. It's not some strange, those weirdos down the road that had 8 babies. And I'm not going to make fun of. It's serious. But it's taught almost amongst the whole world. It's just a truth that we can become as he is. And we can only do that by following laws. And when we break those laws, we put ourselves in a box and we lose our free agency, and our life is so restricted. But the more obedient we are, the more we follow laws, the more we're given, the more we're trusted with, the more knowledge we gain, the more we become like our Savior and doing the things that he taught us to do, to see God in everything and to be one with God always. What's going to happen if you do that? What's naturally going to happen? It's just so simple, and we want to make it so difficult.
We do. We complicate it.
It's just simple. He showed us the way. And It's just beautiful. I love it.
And it's just our ego. It's our ego, and our natural man gets in the way, and our minds, because they're just so full of just, we're so connected. We think we are our ego. We think we are this body. We think that we are all of the choices we've made and our past, and we're so lost. I mean,
that ego is strong.
We're just all in that box.
So separate, unique, individual. I'm this one person that's just so alone.
In my box.
Yeah, going to
break free.
Break free and just be one. And be at peace and love. And I mean, all the things that Jesus Christ taught. Love. Yeah. Love your neighbor. Love your enemy. Love everything. Love the murderer. Love everyone. Love them all.
It is. It's about love. It's about love. Loving each other and not judging each other. And especially loving ourselves. And not judging ourselves, because that is where it begins.
I mean, that's the hardest part.
It is. That is the test. That is the trial, is loving ourselves. Because when we can truly come into loving ourselves and not judging ourselves, then we can have love for others, and we don't judge others, because we don't have anything triggering within us to judge others about.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful and beautiful.
It is.
And just...
And I know I just talk about the few, but I mean Rastafari, all the different, one love, all the just love. Can we just say love one another as I have loved you? This shall be my commandment, that you shall have love one to another. And we killed them for preaching love. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I love the knowledge that I'm gaining and the freedom that I'm gaining. And I mean, where was I just a couple months ago? Y'all can pull it up. I mean, and I'm nowhere. I don't think I've arrived somewhere, but I'm there. I mean, it's just so awesome how what does he call it? Non-duality. I mean, we like want to get caught on one side, but there's always, it's just let it flow and just love it all.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, I know.
Yeah, definitely.
But embrace it. I love it. I love free agency. And I love that everybody in this world can choose the path that they want to take. You're still going to be all right. You're going to be good. You know, it's all going to be good no matter what path you take. He already did it for you, whether you accept him or not. You will one day. That's my own belief. And we'll all get there, and we'll give you a big hug. But I mean, it's all good. Life is good. Forgiveness is what it's all about. I mean, what's the point in walking around carrying these? Get rid of it. Just love. I love y'all. I do too.
I just want so much for people to just understand and know and feel and experience what we're experiencing, and just have it in their own lives. I want so much for that, for this world, because it's just, this world is so just painful
conflicted,
and just so much hurt and so much judgment and just so much anger and hate, and it makes me so sad. I have been experiencing a lot of that over this past week, and it's brought up so much sadness within me for this world. And I just want so much to just give, to just be part of the love in this world and bringing love into this world.
Yeah. I love you specifically if you're watching this right now.
Thank you.
Life is so good.
It is.
And I don't know what else I have to say? Free agency is the greatest thing that God gave us.
And if you don't have it, then I mean, if you're stuck, if you're chained to something, you know, I mean, you have to just ask for help. Ask, and he's there
Yeah.
to free us.
If you are bound today, right now, you don't have to be anymore. You can have your free agency back, but it takes a lot of work.
Yep.
And I'm gonna work today.
Yes.
I'm gonna do it. I love y'all.
Love y'all. Thanks. Bye, y'all.